Hey guys, Mike for SimRacing 604, and today I'm sharing Assetto Corsa mods that have stood the test of time. Like many of you, I can't resist the newest, shiniest mods to hit the AC scene, but there are a lot that impress me and then quickly fade into obscurity, so here are 4 that didn't. Starting off with a car that might make you say, oh right. A few years back, VRC modding team released the Formula NA cars, including this 1999. Without getting into too much of a racing history lesson, IndyCar and kart spent much of the 90s at odds in a high-profile battle for North American racing dominance, and that battle overshadowed the amazing cars that were being raced at that time. In sim racing context, this car satisfies the same itch as the Formula USA cars from Automobilista 2. Like many of you, I felt the AMS2 cars rank among the best sim cars in recent years, and here we have that same car for Assetto Corsa. In game, it drives like you might expect, challenging but unbelievably rewarding when it clicks. The sequential stick and a little stab of the accelerator when downshifting combine with a bit of necessary correction on the steering wheel to produce a drive that's constantly interactive, constantly taking mental and physical effort, and constantly giving back driving satisfaction. Formula NA 1999 here at Laguna Seca. Absolutely monstrous car, so much power, so much speed. And definitely a hands-on car. Definitely a pay attention because you might go around car. You have to earn every lap. It's not a complete death trap, but it's pretty close. There are not the electronic systems you might be used to with a modern open-wheeler. And just like the brilliant Automobilista 2, Formula USA, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 cars, this is that haptic, hands-on open-wheeler we have known and loved in sim racing for a while. Just such a pure pleasure to drive. Again, that power and that speed, just unimaginable. Formula NA 1999 is amazing. This pick was almost too obvious to put on this list. Putting Race Sim Studios' RSS GT Pack on a list of timeless sim racing mods is like putting Bob Marley on your list of favorite reggae artists. And just as Marley helped define and popularize his genre, the RSS GT Pack legitimized the Assetto Corsa mods to some extent and was among a very short list in its era of mods on par with official Kunos content in terms of quality. There were 3 cars included in the pack when it was first released, and a further 3 have been added to the pack since. 6 cars representing the top tier of GT racing from roughly 20 years ago are here, each with unique looks, sounds, and handling. Much like the Formula NA 1999 feels more like an interactive driving experience than modern open-wheelers, the RSS GT cars feel alive and unpredictable next to current gen GT3 or GT2 cars. The pack is on the more expensive side of the mod market, but in my opinion it is worth every penny. Start out with the lister if you want to dip your toes into the pack and get a feel for the cars, then start experimenting with the others to find a favorite. Personally, I think it's hard to beat the Lanzo, but there's no wrong answer here. We are here at Vallelunga. Test drive 1 of the 6 RSS GT cars as part of this pack. This is the Tornado V12 based on the Lister Storm. Absolutely brilliant car. The most neutral handling out of the 6 cars. But when I say neutral handling, I do not mean it feels dead in any way. In fact, it feels very alive, very haptic, very hands-on. Especially in comparison to many modern GT cars, which of course require their own skills, and I'm not taking away from that. But the sense of life you get underneath you when you're driving this car is hard to match. That little hesitation you saw there when I got on the throttle was because that back end was threatening to step out. Something you do have to watch for here in these RSS GT cars. But honestly, the learning curve is not that long, and just brilliant, brilliant cars to drive. I still get a little bit giddy every time I drive these cars. I don't drive them nearly enough, but it's never like, oh great, I have to drive these for a video. No, it's like, I get to drive these. A little smile comes across my face every single time. RSS GT Pack. Like the RSS GT Pack, the IER P13C helped redefine what a mod in Assetto Corsa could or should be. Prior to the release of this car, mods for Assetto Corsa used the physics in AC as a predefined boundary for how the cars could perform. But the P13C was different, a highly technical and innovative suspension and aerodynamic model built exclusively for this car was utilized, and it drove like nothing before and like few mods since. This was the Fosbury flop of Assetto Corsa mods. Everyone else was trying to be the best at zigging, and the IER P13 zagged. Because of the intricacy of the physics and the level of care and attention that went into implementing it, this mod is still relevant, still among the best feeling cars you can drive in the sim. Every few months I need to drive this car to send myself a reminder, and each time I'm impressed. It shines at the edge of traction, and because it's based on a Le Mans prototype, it's built to live at exactly that limit. An amazing car and still among the best examples of how good a car can feel in Assetto Corsa. Time now for the IER P13C. And this is a car that's harder to describe than the other entries on this list, because it's what you feel. It's everything that's going through my wheel right now. It's everything that's going through my motion rig right now. It's just unbelievably in tune with the road. The tire sensations. And the way the suspension handles curbs. It's just like nothing else you can really drive in Assetto Corsa. I'd put very, very few cars on the level technically of the IER P13C. Feels much closer, in my opinion, to Assetto Corsa Competizione than any other car in Assetto Corsa. And the result is just, you feel so connected with the car, like nothing else. Again, I don't know of another car in Assetto Corsa that feels like this, that has this level of feedback from the road and allows you to feel this in tune with what the car is doing. And it's an absolute technical marvel. And still one of my go-to cars when I want to test out a new piece of gear or something like that. Because it has the freedom that Assetto Corsa allows you in terms of track selection, but also that, you know, tight feeling, that connected feeling. Really incredible with this IER P13C. Lastly, a mod that fuses old and new and ranks among the best of the road-going cars available for this sim. Benno Bros' all-wheel drive Singer Porsche is a dream. Like the real Singer modified Porsches, the mod fuses modern handling with classic styling. Specifically with the all-wheel drive edition, the car feels surprisingly planted but retains much of the analog looks and interaction of a classic Porsche. Opinions on how well, or even if, road cars fit into sim racing varies greatly. To some people, sim racing means racing cars. To others, sim racing is the most realistic way for people like myself who will never be able to afford a supercar to experience driving one. And this Singer Porsche is exactly the latter. The mod drives beautifully and brings tracks like Castle Combe, Sachsenring, Anglesey, etc. to life, and it's a great way to spend 10 minutes or 2 hours just enjoying the feeling of driving. When is the last time you allowed yourself to do that? Time now to do some singing. This all-wheel drive Singer Porsche, I mean, what can I say about it? It's just so brilliant, so much fun. It kind of combines the best of a modern car in terms of the handling, with the old school H-pattern shift and obviously an old school looking Porsche body. It just gives this really unique, really fun driving feel. The rear wheel drive versions of this car, which are also included with the mod download, are definitely less forgiving to drive. For a pretty mid driver like me, this all-wheel drive is the way to go, and it definitely doesn't suck the fun out of the car. It's just a little more planted on corner exit, that's all. But either way, however you drive it, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, so good. It's got that smoothness, that refinement that you expect from a modern road car, with, again, that old school look and feel. So nice, so nice. Alright, thank you guys for watching.